All right, welcome back to Matter of Fact. Today's Saturday. Was it the 7th? Man, Red Zone is almost here. I know, Austin, you don't be watching Red Zone like that, huh? When's your
I mean,
team
I
play?
watch it. Yeah,
Like
I watch it. I watch it.
4:30?
Yeah. So I watch it at 1 o'clock. But yeah, once my team plays, that's the only thing that's going on in the world. So
Nah, I feel that. So we're going to give a preview of all the games. We're going to touch on who we think is going to win. So kind of like a pick'em situation, some interesting betting information, and of course, fantasy. We're going to touch on all of that, and we're going to start with Steelers Falcons in Atlanta, Mercedes Benz.
yes, sir.
What do you think about this game?
This is actually going to be an interesting game since Russ is like
Agreed.
trying to play or whatever. So Justin Fields might get the start. Justin Fields is a sneaky fantasy football play, kind of. If I don't know if anybody needs a quarterback already, but yeah. So that's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, Arthur Smith going back to Atlanta with the revamped offense. This is a low scoring game that I'm looking forward to watching. Like I'm actually interested in how boring and how hilarious this game is going to be.
Nah, I feel that. And so I've seen a lot on social media about, oh, see, this is why college football is better. To me, if you think college football is better, fair play.
Can we please not
That's your,
compare? We don't need to compare
I
any of
get
that,
that, but
man. Let's
listen,
enjoy what we
listen,
talk
listen, listen, listen,
NFL
listen,
football here.
listen, bro. Let me finish. There's a point to everything I say, bro. It's the defense. They like that it's more high scoring and whatnot. I'm going to what you're saying. I'd be interested in the defense. What was that one Super Bowl that people didn't like and it was super defensive, but it was like, damn, this
I
is a
think
good
you're talking about
first.
the Pats and Rams.
Nah, I'm not talking about. Actually, you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the first quarter of this past Super Bowl that people thought was boring at first. And I was like, man, this is
I
like
don't
a
know
defensive masterclass right now. And yeah, I'm interested to see how this works. I feel like the NFL, they tend to do things like this where it's like somebody goes here, so we're going to put you against them week one. They just did it with the Packers and the Eagles, I feel like, because it's kind of funny. We were talking off stream about the Josh Jacob comments regarding Saquon, and they both did their thing. So in terms of this one, yeah, I think it's going to be low scoring. I wouldn't bet the over under on this one though. I'm not going to lie. I feel like some funky stuff could happen. But I think it's going to be real interesting to see if Russell Wilson plays or if Justin Field plays. I'm really interested to see if Kyle Pitts and Drake London can be used at their ceiling, and we could finally see a breakout fantasy season from them. So there's a lot to look forward to in this super defensive battle.
Yeah,
Who do you have winning?
who I have winning. I mean, I can see Pittsburgh pulling this one out and like a classic Pittsburgh Steelers football game. I mean, this has Mike Tomlin's defense written all over it, and this is a Najee Harris ugly 71 yards and a touchdown type feel to it. If Justin Fields is the starter, I could see him throwing for like 171 yards, but like having maybe 50 yards on the ground or something like that, and these guys just kind of the defense being able to get some type of like a strip sack fumble or some type of interception on the other, on the other person's 50 to where the offense only has to go about like 30 yards to get a touchdown. I just have a real defensive feel. So, like I said, I just think Mike Tomlin's name is written all over this football game.
Gotcha. So you'd probably take the Steelers to cover that 3.5. Sounds like you might as
Uh,
well put that in a parlay.
yeah. I mean, it's something. That's a very public bet though. Like that's like one of the hottest bets out right now.
True. So do you know
So
what it started at?
I think it started at 3 or 3.5. I think I would take it if it was at 3.5, I would definitely take
That's the hook. That's
Pittsburgh.
perfect.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Just because it's the hook. But like if it was at 3, I could see people slamming. I could see people slamming Atlanta. Or 2.5. Yeah. I could definitely see people
I'm
slamming
glad
Atlanta.
you said that because I have like I told you I guessed the lines before. I'm not I'm not saying I'm reinventing the wheel, but I thought it would be Atlanta 2.5 to be honest. So I was like one away.
Yeah.
What
Getting
up,
interest.
fantasy wise? Who we got? I think Jalen Warren is questionable still. Is he?
Nah, he's playing. He's playing.
He's
I think
playing.
I think he's even healthy. He might even be healthy.
Okay, I think you're happy with both of those backs. Um, you would start George Pickens if you don't have a better option. It's not my I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's like it's why Austin said what he said. It's like I don't know. So George Pickens was on my no draft list. I'm not drafting him. Like he was on my no draft list. If there's anybody that I feel confident about starting, though, if you picked him up in the later rounds, would be Pat Fryermuth. Though I think he's going to have a good game. I think he's going to be that safety blanket. Roman Wilson, he's a rookie, and then they don't really have much other weapons besides those backs. So the backs and the tight end, that's all I'd start on the Steelers.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, someone's going to score a touchdown. I promise. I just don't know who, and it's probably not going to be a lot.
Right. It's a low. Oh, and if you have any of these defenses, this is why I took Falcons defense, and I think our league because I'm like, whoever you have back there, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be like some weird pick six or blocked field goal, blocked punt. Some weird shit's going to happen, bro. So I'm just hoping I'm on the right side of it, and it's Atlanta doing that shit. But in terms of Atlanta, I don't know how you feel about starting Kirk Cousins.
No, I mean, I don't think you have to start him yet. I don't think he's starting for anybody yet. If he's even if he's rostered, so I don't necessarily think you need to concern yourself with worried about QB1 right now. Just start the guy you drafted to start for your team,
which is Bijan, of course. And then, how do you feel about Tyler Algier, though? It's not Arthur Smith where he hates fantasy football. So, an all reliable Tyler Algier, it sounds like they're going to be using Bijan a lot more in the offense this year.
I think Tyler's just a stash right now. Again, it's week 1. We don't know anything. We don't know. We have no data. So right now, it's wait and see with Tyler Algier. But he is a good.
Which is why a lot of people, I don't know, in any of your leagues, if anybody started Xavier Worthy went off on a lot of benches.
Right. And again, we mentioned that it's if you have him, you probably wanted to start him just because it was just going to be fun to be able to root for him as a fantasy football player on your team as an owner. But again, yeah, hopefully he wasn't on your bench for that show because he did put on a show.
And most likely he was. Most likely he's probably not going to be there again. So that's cool. They added Darnell Mooney. You're starting Drake London. Wherever you got Drake London, you're probably starting him at least at the flex. Darnell Mooney, big fan of his. That's a little sleeper joint that I'd probably keep on my bench though. Just see how he works within the offense. And of course, you're starting Kyle Pitts if you got him because you had to get him pretty early, I feel.
Right. And I hope Kyle Pitts doesn't put y'all through the hell he's put his owners through the past 2 years. He says that he's healthy, he's on my list too. Go. But the one thing I will say about Kirk Cousins is we have to remember that he has supported a star running back, a star wide receiver, a wide receiver 2, and a tight end before. He is able to feed his pass catchers, and it hasn't gotten in the way of the running back. So don't be surprised if he stays healthy and everybody's able to eat. That's what we're kind of all banking for, and we're excited about it. But yeah, I think that everybody that you drafted to start for the Falcons should start, and Darnell Mooney is a solid pickup if you picked him up because he might be able to be a weekly flex option for you.
Nah, for sure, for sure. So all right, let's scoot by them. By the way, I think the Falcons are going to take that one. I got the
Okay.
Falcons.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think they can pull it out for sure.
Yeah. It's a toss up though. I don't really want to touch that one. But all right. So Titans Bears. This one's super interesting. The NFL, like their matchmaking, they're on some like UFC Dana White shit. I just love their matchmaking week one. They just do everything right, bro. Love this league, dog. Love
I mean,
this league.
they do everything with a purpose.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, right.
like even when it came to the Packers going to Brazil, people are like, well, it's so dangerous. Why are they going to Brazil? Well, Brazil is a huge fucking market. Like they're not going to Brazil for no reason, bro. There's dollars. Follow the money like it's Vegas. You feel me? So what else we got here? Oh yeah. So Bears 3.5. What did I have for that game? Did I do them? Bears. I guess I didn't. That's weird. What do you think about the outcome of this game?
I think that I think the books are definitely taking Chicago due to the fact that everybody loves the rookie franchise quarterback. They're playing at home, but even though they don't have Tennessee Titans doesn't have a quote unquote franchise quarterback, don't sleep on them because they did spend some money this year in free agency. They got two solid cornerbacks in Chidobe Awuzie on the outside, and also this Ladarius Sneed, who was the prize free agent in this year's market. And then on the offense, you already know they have Calvin Ridley, who is a good corner. I mean, he is a good wide receiver, and also DeAndre Hopkins. They do have Tony Pollard. Yeah, he let guys down last year. If you were a fantasy football, if he was part of your fantasy football team, but it seems like he's healthy and he's gotten his speed and his burst back from the broken tibia. So, I wouldn't be too surprised if Tennessee were able to keep this one close and maybe cover. I think that the point spread is a little too high for Chicago, 3.5. I probably maybe would have had it at like 1.5, 2.
I'm
But
pissed at
at
myself for
3,
not doing that one. I don't know why I didn't
yeah.
do. That's like the only one I didn't do. I don't know what I would have had it at, but
But the cover of full 3 in Chicago, first game of your rookie quarterback's NFL career it's going to be interesting to watch. Not saying that he can't pull it off, but right now it looks like the public and it looks like the books odds makers got a lot of faith in the franchise QB Caleb Williams.
yeah, I just think the Bears are just they're too talented. I think Caleb is levels above Will Levis. I think the mindset of spending this free agency was, look, we put all our stock in it. If it doesn't work, he had no excuses, which I like. It's not a bad strategy. I know you like that strategy too. I think we talked about it before in terms of how they spent that money. But I like their little running back duo, and you should know Tony Pollard, like part of the reason why people were disappointed in his fantasy output last year. He was coming off injury. So don't be surprised if you took a flyer on Tony Pollard in those mid rounds if he does something for you.
Right. And now I think I totally agree with what you said. And I think that it's one of those things where we overpaid for him last year. At least I did. I took him in my 4th overall, 5th overall pick.
You're not alone, bro.
Right. And now it was like, oh, since we overpaid for you, he probably realistically should have been like a 4th, 5th round pick. And it was like, nah, Tony Pollard, he sucks. 6th, 7th, 8th round pick in some of the, 7th, 8th round pick, honestly, in some of the drafts. I might even, depending on the league or how sharp you guys are, your what's it called? What do they call them? House leagues or home leagues. You probably could have got him in like the 8th or 9th round. So Tony Pollard, if he gives you anything, he already did his job. And I think that even if you can get like a solid eight weeks out of Tony Pollard, you'd be happy. You'd be satisfied with that.
Yeah, and me personally, I scooped up Tajee Spears because I liked what he did last year. I'm not starting him though. This is like
Right.
let me see how the offense plays out because I think Pollard's running back one, but I didn't really dabble into Tennessee too much because I don't really trust the quarterback. He had that one crazy like all-time rookie game where he threw for like 4 touchdowns. I think D-Hop had a hat trick. That was cool. But let's see if the league has figured him out.
Oh yeah. And again, I understand why everybody would be high on Chicago to win this game and for them to win it easily. I just
What
think
about
that we
your
should not
what about
forget
your
he's a rookie QB.
what about your must starts you think for that game? I know you
I mean, me personally, I don't have any. I think it's just again, it's week 1. It's a wait
no
and
DJ
see.
Moore?
Okay, maybe if you must start, I don't think you have to start DJ Moore. I think that he's in people's lineups. I mean, but I don't. And I'm starting Caleb Williams, but I don't think that Caleb Williams is a must start.
I don't think he's a must start either. If I were to say who the must starts is, it'd probably just be DJ Moore. Who else? Then on the Titans, none of them are really must starts to me on the Titans, to be honest.
Right.
So it would just kind of be DJ Moore.
Right. So that means that you're starting him. So he's probably a year 12 because must start means he's like a top 20 wide out for because there's some teams where he wouldn't start for me. Some like fantasy football teams that I have that he wouldn't start for me.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I feel like I have him in a league, and I feel like in that league, I'm not starting him.
See what I'm saying? That's what I mean.
Hold on. That's what I mean.
That's what I mean by
crazy.
must start.
That's crazy. Yeah. I just ate my own foot for real. I'm starting Puka.
Yeah.
Rasheed
a strong
Rice.
Start though. A strong start.
Yeah, he's a strong start. I'm starting Puka, Rasheed Rice, and then my boy Malik Neighbors, homer pick. But
justifiable though. Justifiable.
Yeah,
People like you know what I mean? So and like even Rasheed Rice would be maybe the odd man out, and he justified it already on Thursday. So that was where I guess the angle I was coming from with the must start, but I do believe he is a strong start. Yes, I do.
I accidentally agreed with you, so it's all good.
All right. Let's move on to one of the more fun games on this slate on the 1:00 matchup. We get a second-year sophomore QB battle with CJ Stroud and Mr. AR-15 himself. So Anthony Richardson. So I'll let you go with this one right here because this one right here actually excites me.
Yeah. So I picked this at plus 3.5. I go by who's home, so that'd be Houston minus 3.5. So about a half point away. This is going to be interesting. I think people are going to hammer the Texans based off everything that happened last year. But, this is a division game. It's week 1, so be careful with this one. By the way, I like the over on the Titans-Bears one. I might snag that. But with this one, that's a high over-under, a total 49. Expecting a big game from both sides. I mean, the talent is there, right? They added Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs, obviously. Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz is healthy, and of course, Nico Collins is the alpha in that room. I'm not sure who's going to pull this one away. The X factor is Anthony Richardson. I did the air quotes when you said sophomore because it's like, we only saw a couple games of Buddy. Hopefully he protects himself this time because, the potential's through the roof. And, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs is somebody I really wish I scooped up in the later rounds. That one to me is a trade target, assuming let's say I'm gonna be watching that game closely. And in terms of trade targets, what you want to look for is you want to buy low, right? So let's say Josh Downs, his fantasy output's not there, your
Well, he's
league
not
makes.
playing this week. You do know that. So that's something
He's not.
to take it. Yeah, he's sitting out this week. So that's something to take into account. You could get him for even cheaper right now.
Oh shit. Well, let's say in my example he is starting and he got a bunch of targets and there were some overthrows or some stuff happened where it's like, yo, that should have been a touchdown, whatever. That's when you want to bite on that. I think Josh Downs is going to play well this year when he does get on the field. But I mean, who do you have winning this game? I'm guessing you're giving the edge to the Texans.
See, for me, it's definitely a toss up. I understand why it's -3, siding with the Texans, but I mean, I'm interested to see what the Colts can do. I give the edge to the Texans because I like the cornerback that they have. I like a lot of players that they have on defense. But and I think that the Colts right now, their DB situation is just dog food. So I think even like it's definitely going to be a high scoring game, and I like having Anthony Richardson for that, and definitely Jonathan Taylor. But if we're talking player by player and just like team talent wise, I think the edge ends up being Houston. So yeah, I probably end up going Houston. Is it going to cover the 3? I don't know, but I do think Houston's going to end up pulling the game out.
I feel like it might just end up being a push. I feel like they're going to win by 3. And this is all on the back of Shane Steichen, who they were a game away from making the playoffs last year. So I really believe in their OC. I think that's the reason why the Eagles were able to make that run back in 2022. And now they have Jonathan Taylor fresh. They still have Alec Pierce who slept on. So they got some slept on pieces.
Well, they got Adedot Mitchell is the one that they drafted, and he's a Texas guy too. I know we love James Xavier Worthy because of the 4.29, but Adedot ran a 4.33 himself. So he has some speed, and he's going to be in Josh Downs' role right now as the number 3 slot guy. But when Josh Downs gets back, he'll be on the outside taking Alex Pierce's role on that X wide receiver.
Yeah, and what you have to keep in mind with Adonai Mitchell is that the reason why he fell wasn't talent. It was he completely bombed the interview, seemed disinterested, apparently. That's what reports said. So the talent is there, and I think he went to an organization where, I think they run a nice little ship there, right? And that Colts O-line, they're always good in the trenches. So I think Anthony Richardson should have time to get that ball to their playmakers. So
yeah. And again, must starts, the quarterback, the running back, the guys that you drafted very early and you drafted them to start. Strong starts, we already know. We kind of broke it down for you guys and gave you a little bit of the breakdown of why we believe in these cats. And it's just going to be a good game, and that's probably going to be the one that when I do get off a red zone and I'm focusing on a game, that's probably going to be the game I focus on the most.
I like Pittman as a must start, even though like something about Pittman, I never draft him. Like his ADP is always too high for me, but I mean, he's the alpha in that room, and if it's going to be a high scoring game, follow the money. Vegas thinks the over under should be a 49. Then I throw him in the lineup. I understand why they don't have him as a must start though, but still.
Yeah. All right, this is another. All right, sliding through. We're starting off with another high scoring affair. We're going with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins. They got it over under of 49, and they got Miami -3.5. So this one right here is another one that should be a good game. We got Tua in the Miami Heat. We know that when he and has good weather, he's able to sling that pill. He's got 2 speedsters on the outside. They're going to do their thing. And they got some speed guys in the backfield. It's going to be a track meet. I think this is going to be a track meet on both sides. I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to do his thing. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to come out here. It's going to be his coming out party. Another guy that might be on people's bench this week and starter next week kind of situation. And yeah, how do you feel about this game?
I had it Dolphins 2.5. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's going to be pretty high scoring. I feel like I definitely like that over. Tua, I think, has a chip on his shoulder despite getting paid, showing the team's backing finally for once. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think he has a chip on his shoulder. I think he hears the noise. I still think, there's that the everything he's gone through these past couple years, from the concussion, that scary one, through the Brian Flores drama, and then them, dabbling into Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. I think he's always going to have a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to come out to play. They're home. It's September. So I think the Dolphins are going to take this one. I think the Dolphins are going to take this one. I'm interested to see the pecking order with the Jags, though. What's your opinion on Gabe Davis now that he's out of that Buffalo offense? I mean, I know he was like the boomer bust king over there. How do you think they're going to use him with Calvin Ridley gone and them adding Brian Thomas?
I respectfully don't have an opinion about Gabe Davis. I believe that they needed to fill a role because Calvin Ridley was gone. He was one available player in free agency. He's a decent outside wide receiver, but he's never going to command targets. He's never going to be a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2. And I just think that again, he's going to be a solid third guy for this team, but it's going to be Brian Thomas, Evan Ingram that are commanding the targets, Christian Kirk commanding the targets, and Gabe Davis is
The
just going to be
occasional sprinkle of Gabe Davis if he opens.
Yeah, that is how I feel about him. Respectfully.
You said respectfully have no opinion, but that nigga wide receiver 4. I'm fucking weak.
No.
Nah, their core, like, the Jags are interesting. It's really Trevor Lawrence is the obvious X factor there for me. To me, it's no excuses. I don't want to put this on Doug Peterson. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach. T-Law kind of, sort of, he was battling injuries a little bit, but, we haven't seen that jump where he was getting that, around the same time, like that Zion Williamson hype or the current Caleb Williams hype. That was the type of hype Trevor Lawrence was getting for years over there at Clemson. So,
and it gave them the context on both of our opinions on the hype situation. How you feel about hype towards what I pay attention to in regards to how I follow and track football and sports in general.
Man, you don't see hype. You
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I'm like devoured by it.
Right.
I'm devoured by it. So I'm paying attention to it. You're just kind of like, man, he's a quarterback 1. Shit. If he was on the market, everybody would pay for him if they didn't have a solidified guy. So
right. Our expectations are a little bit different when we're talking about the same player.
Nah, for sure. Yeah, I'm surprised they have Evan Ingram as a must start, but I completely agree. Former giant legend with them cheese hands, but them cheese hands, kind of molded over, and he's catching them doing so. Yeah. Travis Etienne, no brainer. I wanted him in one of my leagues, couldn't grab him. Tyreek Hill, of course. And I'm surprised they don't have Achane. You're kind of banging the table for Achane. What do you think about that backfield with him and Mostert?
I think Achane is he's not a must start. I would still probably consider him a strong start because I think that.
Are you one of the writers over there, Fantasy Pros, bro?
No, I'm not. I'm actually not.
You're like, nah, this is 100% correct.
But it's just like because again, it's because he's so boomer bust. Now, depending on your league, you might have been able to steal Achane in like the fourth fourth round or something like that. Now in our leagues where we have a little bit of money on everybody, we're paying with cats that are sharp. So A-Chain didn't even get to me in the second round in one of my leagues, and if you didn't draft them, high, you didn't get him. But I think that he's a strong start. I just don't know until after we see him play if he's a must start. Like, yeah, I know for a fact he's blowing up. We know he's getting passes out the backfield. We know he's getting 8 carries a game. Da 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 da. We don't know anything yet. So I think, by week 3 or 4 will be a must start.
I feel like in a game like this, and like I said, follow the money, I do think this is going to be a high-scoring game. These are both Florida teams. I think in a high-scoring game, to me, him and Mostert, I'm starting. I just couldn't nab any of them. I wanted Mostert in like the 7th, 8th, 9th range. I knew people were going to sleep on him because A-Chan's the sexy name, Mostert. So obviously kind of revitalized his career, which is rare for a running back. So shout out to Mostert. I hope he continues what he's doing. And then Jalen Waddle, obviously he's wide receiver too, but hey, great flex option pretty much every week, unless the secondary they're playing in straps, and that's not really the case here.
And then we had a small little conversation about this, but I told you that Jonnu Smith was their starting tight end. And it's funny, but I'm not going to be surprised if next week on the waiver wire we have to mention pick up Jonnu Smith because he ended up getting 7 targets last week and catching 4 of them for 53 yards and a touchdown.
You know who he reminds me of, low key? He reminds me of David Njoku. Like, he's just so built and all the potential is there. Like, just a monster. And it's
he's
like
a horse.
Like he should eat. And in this offense, I feel like Mike McDaniel. Is that what it is? There's too many mix.
Mike McDaniel.
Too many mix, man. But Mike McDaniel, he'll be able to use him, and he'll block better than Gesicki. So,
right, yeah. So, and then we're back to the games. Arizona Cardinals, Buffalo Bills. This one right here is going to be a barn burner too. I believe. I mean, Arizona Cardinals got me back there playing defensive back. So it's not, outside of Budda Baker, like they don't have guys that can cover like that. They're doing. They did try to draft some pieces in the
47. Love it.
Yeah, in the draft, but again, those are some rookie guys. Obviously, we got Josh Allen running QB over there in Buffalo, but the wide receivers, we're not necessarily sure who's going to be the wide receiver 1, but they got 2 solid pass catchers that are pretty promising. I think Khalil Shakur is a pretty promising wide receiver, especially if he's playing out the slot. And Dalton Kincaid has been talked about this whole entire offseason. So, everybody already kind of knows about those 2 guys. And I think that Josh Allen does his thing and, they probably end up pulling it out. But 6.5 is an interesting number. Interesting number.
Yeah,
for sure.
So the number I had when I was guessing it was actually -4. So just to give you a kind of preview of like our last quick segment, in terms of like our favorite picks of the week, this is definitely one of them. I think the Bills are a little bit overvalued here, and they're not giving enough love to Kyler. Because when Kyler did play towards the end of last year, they went crazy. Jonathan Gannon made every game a tough beat. They beat y'all. They almost beat us. It took like some second half heroics from Daniel Jones to come back into that game, and that was when they were running Josh Dobbs, and there was no Marvin Harrison Jr. You know what I mean?
Or Trey McBride. Trey McBride wasn't playing at that time either.
That too. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals won this outright, man. I think 6.5 is kind of crazy. I think the odd makers are kind of bugging out with this one because, they lost a lot of pieces on defense. I'm talking about Buffalo, and they were like either aging, constantly injured. They kind of hit the reset button on the roster a little bit. But because of that, I don't think that, even though Sean McDermott, he's a defensive head coach, he's been doing his thing there ever since he got there with Josh Allen. I don't think they're going to be able to stop like all these weapons that the Cardinals have to a point where they're up a touchdown. I mean, between Marvin Harrison, I really like Michael Wilson. I think they let go of Rondell Moore because Greg Dortch, it's like the Spider-Man meme, pretty much the same player. And then Trey McBride, the way Jonathan Gannon uses his tight ends, he's going to, like you said, they're going to put him out wide sometimes. They're going to use him in some creative ways. And then James Conner, you can't snub your nose at him either. So weapon for weapon, I mean, the Cardinals have the weapons. I just think it's their defense that makes it so, yeah, the Bills might, easily take it, but I just don't see that happening. It's a gut feeling.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with you on that. Even if, again, he's not necessarily say, yo, slam Arizona. So we don't want to see nobody in the comments when you took Arizona plus 300, plus 32 or whatever, and they lose. We don't want to hear that. But he's just saying at 6.5, he doesn't think that Buffalo is going to beat them by a full touchdown or more. He just thinks that it's going to be a tighter game than the odds makers are making it out to see.
Yeah, and then the no-brainer starts that they have here. Completely agree. I think you could start James Conner if you want, but not a must start. I think James Cook is a must start, though. I think that is a must start.
I think I might have to. I think I don't have any shares of James Cook. I was actually scared of him because I think he's a talented back, but I just don't know how they're going to do things at the goal line. They got a guy in Ray Davis that they just picked up, and then Josh Allen is, if he feels like being the goal line back, he is the goal line back. So I like James Cook, and I'm definitely going to dabble into his player props. But I have no shares of him on my fantasy football team. And yeah, that's just the reason why. But I do like him.
Well, here's the thing: when they fired Buddy, what's his name, Kevin, their OC, and they got Joe Brady, their emphasis was really on getting the ball to James Cook, whether that's running or passing. And if you're in full PPR, I would smash it. I would smash it. I have a share of James Cook. I'm expecting a huge game from him. Obviously, that's Dalvin Cook's brother, so it's in his blood. You won't get him
28. Till he turns 28, and then I guess
tell that to Raheem Mostert, right? Or Adrian
seriously
back in the day.
Right. All right, we got a snooze fest. New England Patriots versus Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati minus 7.5, over under of 40, because New England will not probably be able to get the ball past the 40 more than like 2 or 3 times. But and I'm sorry, Patriots fans. Okay, like I'm sorry we have to talk negative about you guys. I know you're not used to people talking to you like that because you've been winning our entire lives. But guess what? This is how it feels to be in the mud. It feels like this. No, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Guaranteed 1 o'clock games all year, pretty much. But yeah, so Drake May's obviously not playing, which I think is smart. I think they should, if they're going to play him against an easier matchup. I feel like the matchmakers, it's like, damn it, we have to put somebody against the Patriots. Joe Burrow is our golden boy. They've had these slow starts. They can't fuck this up. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's how I feel about this game. What?
Yeah, they're giving them a little cupcake game. Okay, you know what I mean. At this time when they probably made the schedules, I think the team and T Higgins was still arguing about him requesting a trade. That didn't happen, but so yeah, they were like, look, we're gonna just give these guys Cincinnati, give Cincinnati New England, let them whoop on them, get their stuff sorted out, so they can actually play a legit game in like week 2 and 3.
Yeah, and my guess for this game, I actually had it at minus 9.5, so I'm surprised it's not a little bit higher. And they don't have Jamar Chase as a must start. That's kind of maybe it's because they're going to have to run the ball, huh?
But they don't know if he's playing. I mean, he's questionable. Yeah, bro. There's a lot going on. Like it's been a lot going on today. It's been a lot going on.
Sheesh. And then I'm usually in my $200 league, I'm known for scooping. It's funny. Both T. Higgins and Ramondre, I have no stock in either of them this year. With the Patriots, at least before the games are somewhat competitive, but you know how much you really going to be running the ball if you're down often. So I didn't pick up any Ramondre. What I did do was I picked up some Demario Douglas and some Jalen Polk that's sitting on my bench in both my leagues. And somebody has to score. And if they're playing from behind, they're going to be airing the ball out. So if you got any of those receivers, good on you. Keep them on the bench, see how that snap count goes. But besides that, it seems like an easy dub. And there's your boy Chase Brown. What do you think about your boy?
Uh, Not in this game. I mean, I think that eventually he'll be something. It's again, you
Wait
got to
and see.
remember the new preseason in the NFL are weeks 1 through 6. Then that's the new preseason. So
I'd say like one
everything's
through
getting
four.
all right. Okay. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that first quarter of the season is when everybody stops trying to fight the narratives that they came in and had into the beginning of the season, and they figure out who the guys are. And it's like, all right, look, we might have wanted him to be the starter, but this guy deserves to be the starter, and we might have wanted to have this offensive philosophy. But this is the offensive philosophy we need to have if we want to start winning games here. It's when everybody starts to hanker down and they understand their teams. And you have to understand everybody has an ego. So these athletes have egos, these coaches have egos, and at the beginning of the season, they might want to approach it a certain way. But when it gets time and it's been a week, it's been a month and a half of football being played, you got at that point, you know who you are and you know what you need to do in order to win football games. So I think, by week 6 for sure, he'll be a thing and he'll be like a viable option. But I think Cincinnati themselves and us as fantasy football owners and guys like that, we need to wait and see also, especially on Chase Brown and even Zach Moss.
Personally, I think if you have either Chase Brown or Zach Moss, you should feel comfortable starting them if you're low on running backs, which typically happens in fantasy football. There's usually more of an abundance of wide receivers. But for this game, if you're assuming that how we feel, which it should be a blowout, then they're going to have to be running the ball a bunch. They will be running the ball a bunch. So I think it's a safe 10 points minimum.
Right, and that's also relative to the running backs that you have on your football team too, because
Exactly.
you drafted Chase Brown and Zach Moss probably in like the 10th round. So if you got some studs that you drafted, I would say any running back like that's as good as James Conner, the Kenneth Walkers of the world, you're starting those guys over these guys.
For sure, for sure. All right, let's move on from that. We have another division game here. Panthers at the Saints. They got the Saints -4. I had the Saints -6.5. That was my guess.
Well, it was bet down to 4. It's been bet down to 4.
Interesting. When did I do this? I did this. I did this yesterday midday. So I did this like early Friday. So maybe it was still bet down by then. But yeah, with this game, I see it. Here's what I like to do. Along with my typical bets, I like to do a dog parlay. Right, 2 or 3 teams I think are dogs. Put a little bit of bread on it. You might win big. Sometimes, some weeks, the only thing that hit was my dog parlay, and that just covered all my money and then some. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers won this game. I don't really have faith in Derek Carr. And I think Bryce Young is a little bit undervalued here. At the end of the day, it was bad ownership that, yeah, the team wasn't good. It wasn't well constructed, and they clearly made the wrong choice in who they drafted at quarterback. But it's not, I don't think Bryce Young is as bad as everyone thinks he is. And now he actually has some weapons to go along with the lone Adam Thielen last year and Deontay Johnson. And then they also added Xavier Leggett, I
Yeah.
believe. So, and then they also drafted a tight end, Jartavius Sanders. Am I saying
Mm-hmm.
that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jatavion Sanders. Yeah,
yeah,
out of Texas.
yeah. Damn, Texas really got a lot of weapons in this draft. But
and they
Yeah,
reloaded and they reloaded. They got guys that are going crazy today. That went crazy today.
yeah, wild. But weapons wise, I don't think they're far off. Like, yeah, Chris Olave, um, Alvin Kamara, he's going to do Alvin Kamara like things. Derek Carr's going to do dump off like things. So if you have Alvin Kamara, I would definitely start him in this game against the Panthers. If you drafted him whenever you did, which was pretty early, I was hoping to get him like mid round. He went early in both of my leagues. If you drafted him, you're probably playing him. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, somebody that I was kind of targeting in that like 13th, 14th round because he opens that field up a bit. But besides that, what's your opinion on the tight end situation? Because that's always the fun. It's the funnest team to talk tight ends about. Because Jawan Johnson, he does his thing as a pure tight end, but obviously Taysom Hill is a jack of all trades, that Swiss Army knife. And if I remember correctly, that's the tight end you're starting in our league.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, in one of our leagues, we have some characters in that league, and like we have one of our homegirls. She like loves tight ends, so she'll snag like three of them. Like she just whatever. Like one thing about her is she gonna be secure at tight end, and it seriously it always kind of works out for her. But yeah, we had a little tight end run go, and usually once the tight ends start going, I'll try to get Jake Ferguson, but I didn't end up with him, and then I just let it drop. Ended up with Taysom Hill. I mean, they're talking as if he's just going to be this goal line back in a way, power back, goal line situations, playing fullback. I'm kind of just seeing what happens and banking on something happening. But if nothing happens, it's week one, not that big of a deal. I'll probably end up copping a tight end off the waivers
Maybe
somewhere
John New
and
Smith.
right, yeah. Like I said, could be John Smith. And Isaiah Likely had a nice little week. I don't know if I'll be able to get him, but if I lose, maybe I'll be able to win the
Spend
Isaiah
up on that.
Likely.
Spend
Right,
up on that fab, maybe.
right. But I'm not going to be goofy like that. It's about bankroll management, money management, fab management. We'll speak. We'll get into that. But yeah, for the most part, we'll wait and see. My favorite player out of this entire game is going to be Deontay Johnson, another one of the guys I didn't want to leave any
Not
game.
Olave.
Nah, I mean I have Olave and he's cool, but like Deontay Johnson was one of those, especially in the PPR league. He was just one of those players that I didn't want to leave any draft without him. I think he's been underrated this whole entire time. Like this thing says, clear number one. He's an outside wide receiver that gets open, and he can also play in the slot. But he's just going to get peppered with targets, and Bryce Young is going to be fine. So Bryce Young has always known how to get the ball to talented football players. He didn't forget how to do that, and I think that this year he's going to be a solid pickup.
I also like Chuba. I also
Oh
really
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
Chuba.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hell yeah. He'll get another one to get peppered with targets. If we're playing a PPR league, we don't care how we win. We're just trying to win. And if we get 12 points off of a running back that caught the ball 6 times for 50 yards, we don't care. That's not our problem.
That's
Okay.
a great game. Shit, I don't even care if you scored.
Right. Exactly. That is not our problem. But all right,
Shit.
I'll let you take care of this one.
All right, so we have the disrespectful line here for the Giants. We have the Vikings minus 1.5 on the road, over under 41.5. Obviously, JJ McCarthy out for the season, so they're rolling with Sam Darnold. Good contingency plan. I like what they did in the offseason. Jordan Addison is good to go. I heard that he's good to go, fully healthy, ready to play. So you have him, you have JJ, and then they added Aaron Jones, which is a great supplement for what they had last year. So with this game, I think the main thing everyone's going to be looking at is how number one on the Giants is going to do, the newly unretired for the first time
Really,
NFL.
you think that that's what everyone's thinking about? Not Justin Jefferson, the best
We've
wide
seen
receiver
Justin
in that league.
Jefferson. No, we're looking at the rookie LSU receiver, not the bona fide
The
top
best
three.
one ever.
The,
You said
what
the best 4 seasons of any wide receiver ever in the NFL. You don't think we're interested in watching him play football?
See, now you're putting words in my mouth. You're taking shit out of context. See, JJ cool, but he got a new neighbor in town. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
There's a new
all right.
neighbor in town, and I think I'm not going to say too much on this. Like I could go on and on and on. Obviously, Saquon did his thing last night, but that's what I expected. To be honest, that's what I expected. I know you thought that with Kellen Moore, whatever, but I'm like, you put
Well, no.
Saquon behind.
What I've always said is that Kellen Moore will always do well against average defenses. It's when he goes up against above average defense is when you're going to see it. And even last we'll get more into this when we do the recap. We'll break all of this down. But I have a lot of Kellen Moore intel, and just trust and believe I'm not wrong. Not wrong. Never been.
He has been on the money with Kellen Moore, even when he was with the Chargers and everyone was singing his praises. He was a head coach target. Austin was telling me in the offseason, man, he's going to shit the bed with the Chargers. I was like, for real? The guy everybody, is talking about? Like, they're acting like he's the boy wonder. And what happened? The coach got fired midseason. They didn't upgrade him. How bad do you want the job, brother? It's right there. I don't want it. That told me a lot.
He didn't even take the interim head coach job when they fired.
That's my point. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was right there for you. Take that. See, give it a little taste. Nobody's going to blame you. You're getting thrown into the fire. But how are you the guy that everybody was gunning for, and you can't even be the interim head coach real quick, and you switch teams? So all good. It's a good job over there in Philly. But with Neighbors, I agree with them, man. He's not a must start. We have to see how the Giants O-line holds up because we've been a bottom 5, bottom 3 O-line for some time. We brought in Carmen Badillo from the Raiders, who took a lot less draft capital and money in that Raiders O-line with Colton Miller and them boys, and made them like the 11th, 10th to 12th best O-lines in the league. And we took some of those guys. We took Greg Van Roten. We took Illuminor. And then obviously Andrew Thomas, top 3 left tackle in the league. And I think the O-line is going to be a lot better. And I think, Neighbors is a stud. And we've seen stud receivers be able to perform no matter what the quarterback situation is. Daniel Jones did win a playoff game in great fashion with Isaiah Hodgins being the leading receiver, and he's on our practice squad right now, if that tells you anything. We have a lot of speed with Wandell and Jalen Hyatt, but eyes are really on Neighbors. We got Devin Singletary, who was there with Buffalo, to replace Saquon, but we also have some draft capital from this year and last year with Eric Gray and Tyrone Tracy. So it's a big wait and see game. Start JJ. To start Addison too. I'm starting Neighbors. If you drafted Neighbors, you had to get him pretty high because the hype is really high on him. So you're probably starting Neighbors as well. But besides that, I'm not really pressed to start anyone. Maybe Aaron Jones. But for that line, I guessed it at Giants -1. So not super far off. Obviously, the home team gets 3 points. But who do you think is going to win that one?
I think the Vikings probably pull it out. Like I said, they're at home. It's nothing.
The Giants are at home.
The Giants are at home. Oh, my bad. Yeah, but yeah, I think that Minnesota ends up pulling out the game. I think that you guys, got some pieces now. Like I think last year it was like you guys had maybe like one piece in Dexter Lawrence. But you guys got a player on offense now, a blue chip player at wide receiver. But you're going up against one of the best wide receivers in the NFL too, and I think that's just is the thing that leads them to victory. It's a close game throughout. It's an ugly game. You guys are going to probably muddy it up, be up maybe like 9-13, and then they make a drive at the end of the game. Sam Darnold just decides like I'm just going to go to Justin Jefferson. I'm gonna just go to Justin Jefferson. And if I lose that way, no one's gonna blame me. And yeah, Justin Jefferson just puts his team on his back and leads them to a victory.
That's very realistic because one of our weakest groups besides offensive line is our secondary. That's why very last second we brought back Adoree Jackson
Right.
because our cornerback two wasn't. Yeah. Let's move on. Not much to talk about there. Look out for Neighbors. Look out for JJ. LSU game, pretty much.
Right. All right. Denver Broncos versus Seattle. Uh, interesting one, but probably one I won't be paying too much attention to. If we're being honest, Denver though has a rookie in Bo Nix, where some guys are probably excited to see, and he looked pretty promising in the preseason. We got to give credit where credit is due. Again, one of the teams that people like a lot, Seattle Seahawks, got a new offensive coordinator in Ben Grubbs. He came from Washington University, where Penix obviously played football at, led them to a national championship, and they had 3 wide receivers get drafted. So one of those being Roman Duze. And yeah, I think that it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be interesting to watch for fantasy football purposes. I am playing Javonte Williams and starting him as my running back too. And the Seattle -6, it's a decent line. I think I would actually go with the over 41 because I think Seattle's going to try to air the ball out a little bit. And I think because Denver will be playing from behind, from what the line is telling me, I think that they're going to be able to put up a few scores, which gets that line to go over to 41.5.
Yeah, I can see this one going over. I think this is like a lot to win. This is like on my list. The Seahawks. I actually had this at, and I don't know what I was thinking with this, but I had them at what, -3, which
Right.
-6 definitely makes sense now I think about it because that is one of my favorite picks this week, even with the 6, simply because it's a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. He's not I he played I think he played like 60 games in college. He's basically not even a rookie with that much playing time. But I think this is all with Mike McDonald. You have Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen back there. You have they literally called this guy Boy Genius and nabbed him from the Ravens. That Ravens defense was crazy. I think this defense goes crazy. And then the weapons galore for Geno. Kenneth Walker, DK, JSN, Tyler Lockett. It's wild. Like, I think the Seahawks are pretty underrated. I wouldn't be surprised if they made like a playoff push, because what we've seen over the past couple of years is that these if somebody's good for that head coaching job, they could take that team and do some work with them, man. So I think this team is primed to do some work. And is there anybody that you would add to that must start list besides like a DK, Kenneth Walker?
I mean, no, well, I like Javonte Williams just because, and something to keep an eye out for the Denver Bronco offense. If you are watching this game, keep an eye out at how much Bo Nix checks down to his running backs, because one thing we know about Sean Payton, he loves throwing the ball to his running backs. Alvin Kamara, Darren Sproles back in the day, Reggie Bush, all of that, all those guys, Sean Payton was the offensive coordinator for them. We got Jaleel McLaughlin, and we also have Javonte Williams. Let's see what kind of touches they're receiving from Bo Nix, because that could do something for your fantasy football team going forward. You know, if McCoglin is not only receiving, a few carries, but he's touching the ball, receiving 6-7 touches a game through the air, that's going to be so beneficial to your team. I remember one year in a PPR league, I had a guy who was literally starting Darren Sproles because of how much he was catching the ball out the backfield. He wasn't even a starting running back, but because he was so involved with the offense and because of how much they checked down, he was able to use that player as a second RB, and he was benefiting from it.
Nah, facts. And it's funny that you say that. I actually have a combo of Javonte Williams and McCaughlin in both my main leagues because
Right.
of that fact. You have Sean Payton there with the rookie quarterback. They didn't really like Russell Wilson because what Russell Wilson does best is ad lib, get out the pocket, and he's physically not able to do that anymore. So I think Sean Payton was like, I think he was frustrated, and they got an experienced quarterback in Bo Nix. I know he's a rookie, but I mean, he played against some strong defenses through his college career at the two different programs he was at. So yeah, that's gonna be. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on the running backs, that backfield for Denver.
Yeah. And here we got another, whatever kind of game. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. This one's been all the way bet all the way down to 39 and a half over
Damn, is that
under.
the lowest that we've seen
Probably
so
the
far?
probably the lowest, yeah. And I mean, it started
Shit.
at 41, but between these two teams and these two coaches, uh, and the talent on both rosters at the moment, it's
They
it's
both
going to
want to
be
do the same thing.
it's going to be a low scoring game. They both want to play defense and they want to run the ball. Devontae Adams, the only player on this team that's startable. I personally, I'm not going to lie. If you're betting this game, you might be a degenerate because I don't even know how you can I don't know how you think that the Chargers are winning this game by 3 points.
I'm glad you said that. I guessed it at -1.5, so I'm not touching that at no -3.
That
That's too
might be
close.
the Jim Harbaugh effect. I don't know, or
Right.
maybe
Well, maybe
maybe
he's
the
worth a point and a half
right,
with
or
Justin
maybe the
Herbert.
quarterback. Yeah, Justin Herbert's getting a point and a half, but yeah, I'm not touching that game. I don't think I'm touching that game. And if I were to touch it, I would have to go with Las Vegas. And I just don't know if I want to. I don't know if
I,
I'm ready to party with Gardner
honestly, I
Minshew.
would hope that it goes down to -2.5, and maybe I would take it there, or maybe I would just take the Chargers to win because I do think the Chargers will win. I think it's going to be a great debut for Harbaugh. They got no must starts. What's your opinion on Zamir White? There was a lot of hype with him. He was
He's a good
drafted pretty
back.
early. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good back. Again, we just said both these teams want to do the same thing. They want to run the ball. They want to play defense and run the ball. And I mean, he's the starting running back. So they were cool with letting go of Jacobs and Josh Jacobs. And Zamir White was playing at the end of the year. I actually lost my fantasy football playoff game because I sat Zamir White and started Devontae Adams. Had I played Zamir White and sat Devontae Adams, I would have actually won. Samir had like
That's one of them
15.
hindsight things that you can't even be
Right.
mad at yourself about.
You
You know
right.
what I mean?
It's just like that's just the luck of the draw. Because who would have did that? Not in a playoff game, not in a fantasy football playoff game. No one has that type of I believe that it's going to be a run heavy script versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and Devontae Adams is going to receive like 9 targets and not catch any of them. So it's just one of those things that happen. Shout out to I think his name is Pack. I think that's who beat me and ended up going to win the championship. So good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, and similar to Denver, I would look out for Ravens Junior offense over here with
Mhm.
J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Um, I'm curious to see how that split goes. I think I read something that it's just going to be the hot hand, or it's going to be split up. But yeah, I definitely wanted a piece of both of them. No Diddy. I think I have one of each in both of my main leagues, and I took up Lad McConkey. I watch out for him too. He's kind of the guaranteed wide receiver one, as they lost Keenan Allen and Mike
Well,
Williams.
Joshua Palmer's that was is the wide
Oh
receiver.
yeah, 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 yeah. We need to speak on that. Josh Palmer, sleeper. Because somebody has to catch the ball, and Justin Herbert's, as much as Harbaugh wants to run the ball, they are going to have to pass it from time to time. So yeah, Josh Palmer as well, McConkey in the slot.
Yeah. All right. And then next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys versus the Cleveland Browns. They got Cleveland Browns at -2.5, over under 41 points. I think this one's going to be an ugly football game. Definitely a defensive matchup. Uh, Low scoring affair. I could see a low scoring affair. Uh, we got Miles Garrett going against a rookie left tackle. So that's going to be fun to watch. And we got an offensive line for the Cleveland Browns, who is definitely a run heavy offensive line. Expect them to test the Dallas Cowboys' linebackers and their defense as a whole. As for the quarterback play, I mean, we just don't know how healthy Deshaun Watson is. He didn't throw or play in the preseason. I trust that the Dallas Cowboys have the edge at QB, whether people like it or not. And it's going to be an exciting game to watch, and we'll see how it goes down. But I definitely think that this is Cleveland could pull this one off, and like I don't know if they'll cover the spread, but I definitely can see Cleveland pulling this one off in a strong defensive effort. Maybe two or three turnovers forced by whichever defense might dictate the winner of this game. But definitely a low scoring defensive affair here in Cleveland. One of the hardest defenses to play against last year.
Yeah, I actually had my guess was Cleveland +2, so I thought they're going to be dogs at home against y'all. To be honest,
Yeah,
but this game's a toss up. It really, I just don't know what we get out of Deshaun Watson. I mean, that's not who got them to the playoffs at the end of the year, and there's no Nick Chubb. They added Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku. Just talk about the beast of a tight end, and Jonnu Smith. David Njoku's like a younger, more talented version of that, low key. So I don't know. It depends. Kevin Stefanski. Damn, why is his name so hard to say? He's a good coach. Mike McCarthy, he's a good coach. I don't know how I feel about this game. I'm not touching it personally, but it's your usual suspects. You want to start Amari Cooper. I think that's a must start. I don't know. You and fantasy pros, your bros over there, fantasy pros, strict on this must start shit, man. Play Amari Cooper.
But it depends on your team because some guys, they'll Amari Cooper's probably a strong start, I'd assume. But if you got CeeDee Lamb and you got Drake London and you got Jalen Waddle or Nico Collins and Tank Dell, like you got a wide receiver loaded up at wide receiver, maybe you're like, I'm gonna sit Amari for this one. I think that's what I think when I think must start. Like I think like CeeDee Lamb, I drafted him at 1-1. Yeah, you start. You're starting. There is nobody I'm starting over you, except for Justin Jefferson or Tyreek Hill or something like that, who aren't on my team.
Yeah, it's impossible to have that duo unless you're in like 8-person league. Right. So I feel that. Still, I would start Cooper. I think they're going to need, if they want to win, he's going to have to get the ball plenty of times. So yeah, it does depend on your team. Yeah. And if you're light at tight end, I would sprinkle in David Njoku or Jake Ferguson, to be honest.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, again, this is going to be a tough matchup. Not ideal situation for the Dallas Cowboys. They're playing on the road, outside. So, and last I looked at something. I think it was Bob Stern's Twitter account. He said that Brock Purdy was under 100 yards. Joe Burrow was under 100 yards. And I think it was Ryan Tannehill last year who was like threw for like 101 yards. So like they clamp up over there. They clamp up. And I'm not saying
clamping up Tannehill. That's a funny name to add to what
but I'm saying any quarterback to only throw for 98 is kind of
that defense is crazy, which is why if Deshaun Watson is who they paid him all that guaranteed money to be, they should be major Super Bowl contenders, and that's the reason why they're not right there. Because he's a question mark.
Right, and so we'll see how it goes down. And again, don't be surprised if this is a defensive effort. And like I told you, we got a rookie playing one of the best DNs in the NFL, and we got Dallas Cowboys defense, which is obviously one of the best at turning over the ball. So the defense is definitely going to decide that game. I guess we'll leave it at that for right now. All right, next up, Washington Commanders versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is the game of the week here I'm not kidding. And yeah, this is actually what's going to be on TV, not the Dallas Cowboys for once here in Washington.
Wait, is that the what is that? The Monday night? Is that Sunday
No,
night?
it's Sunday at 4:25.
I was
Yeah,
about to say
Washington
something.
got a 4:25 slot.
Oh, look at that. Jaden Daniels hype is going crazy.
Good for them. Good for them.
All right, I want you to peep this. I forgot to bring this up, but this was one of the only games impacted by weather. I like betting over unders a lot. Um, so when I bet my over unders, you gotta look at the weather report. This isn't my usual website. I couldn't find it because the website I like kind of has like a green, yellow, orange, red setup. But if you look, 66% chance of rain. I don't, if it rains, it might be a delay, whatever, but factor that in. I'm not saying to switch your pick, but make sure you factor that in into what you got going on there.
Right, right. This one is as Tampa at -3.5, and an over under of 42.5. Again, I think Washington will play them tough. I think that there's a lot of good energy. I guess that's what we'll call it. Over there in Washington right now, they're really hopeful and what they got going on with the defensive coordinator. I mean the head coach Dan Quinn and the new quarterback Jaden Daniels. So they're excited, and we'll see. Some people believe that this is actually going to be an upset. Washington could take them. I think Tampa Bay is just one of those teams. Like people kind of look at them as like a whatever team. It's like, oh, whatever, playing Tampa Bay. What can they do? But Tampa Bay is solid, man. Like they beat Philly last year in the playoffs. No one talked about that. No one speaks on that. But like, we gotta respect this team. This team is a playoff team, and they won a game. They won their division. Like this is not a slouch, and they're playing at home. Like so, I think yes, Jaden Daniels can be a good football player, and he's probably hopefully a franchise quarterback for the Washington Commanders. But I don't know if they have enough to just come in and smack up Tampa, who has had the same kind of. I mean, well, they've had the same head coach, and they've had a second year with the same quarterback, and they've had the same wide receiver core for like the last 4 or 5 years. Like, why wouldn't this just be business as usual for Tampa this weekend?
Yeah. I don't see an upset here. I don't think Washington's that good per usual, to be honest. They just gave up Jahan Dotson, but they do have Christian McCaffrey's brother over there, Luke McCaffrey, I guess. But besides Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, washed. Yeah, I mean, it's the Bucks have their core. And Baker Mayfield, I think, still has that chip on his shoulder, especially I've seen on social media how the Browns kind of hate on him. I think he has a chip on his shoulder as the number one pick years ago that gave Cleveland their first playoff game in however long, that I think he has that forever chip. Like, I can't believe I'm even on a different team right now, still to this day.
Right.
And they're not getting respect that they deserve. And yeah, I mean, what Rashad White, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cade Otton. Nothing has really changed with them. There's a lot of moving pieces with Washington. I
Like these
guess
guys won a
this
Super Bowl.
right. On the back of the rookie Tristan Wirfs. Now he's a vet. Now he's one of the best tackles in the league. I mean, he was one of the best tackles in the league. Shit, after that
First
Super Bowl
year.
run, yeah. So, I had this at -2.5, which might have been a little bit disrespectful to the Bucks. Maybe I'm disrespecting the Bucks with that one, but I don't know what they expect really with that tandem of Brian Robertson and Austin Eckler. I hope Austin Eckler's back in form to be what he usually is, which is that pass catching back. I think that's a nice lightning and thunder combo if he is back in form. But we got to see the rookie play. This might get added to my parlay though. I'm not maybe not the spread, but just Bucks money line. I think they got this one in the bag.
And that's part of the reason why we're even personally going through this is because when you talk it through and you realize like, okay, wait, okay, so this is the situation. They kind of got an edge here. This is what the odds makers are saying, but I feel this way, blah, 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 blah. You can figure out what plays are more you feel like you have an understanding of the game script. You can kind of feel more comfortable with the bets that you're making or you're placing. So yeah, this is an exercise for us, and we're just trying to be informational for you guys.
Yeah, and I don't know if they had Rashad White in their must start, but I'd definitely smash that. I
Well,
was
not a must start, but a strong start. Yeah, they had him in there. He's a top 10 back.
you gotta we already seen how they use him. I like him. As a pure runner, he's not the best, but the way they use him,
But
I
the way
think
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
especially if you're in full PPR. I wouldn't want him on my bench against Washington. I mean, that defense isn't really nothing to be worried about. So, whoa, 52.5 with this Lions Rams playoff rematch, which once again, the NFL matchmakers, they did it again with this one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this one might go over. I'm liking the Rams. I'm liking the Rams here, and it's not necessarily because I like them as a team or anything, but 4.5. I think that they play it close. I mean, they might end up losing the game, but I don't know if they're losing by more than a touchdown. And in order for you to cover the 4.5, you got to probably get to 6 field goals. I mean, to two to 6 points. So I don't know. I think right now I would probably go with the over and maybe with Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, you like that high over total? I had the Lions -4, so that's pretty close to what I guessed.
Right.
But yeah, I like the Rams to cover that. I don't know if I'm taking them outright to win, but no surprises if they do. Cooper Kupp's supposed to be back in form. Maybe not to his triple crown year, but if he's even 80% of that, that's all you need with Puka Nacua here in the house and Kyron Williams in that backfield. The way Sean McVay designs some of those run schemes is, it's crazy. You could put pretty much anyone back there, but Kyron Williams is super talented. And then they also added Blake Corum from Michigan. And don't sleep on DeMarcus Robertson either. I think the Rams have a way of drafting good talent, getting good steals, and getting the most out of them. And with the Lions, I mean, they're everybody's favorite team right now. Maybe I think the sentiment's turning a little bit. People are a little bit annoyed with the Lions fans, but I don't blame them. If I was a Detroit Lions fans, I'd be popping my shit too. To be honest, with the team they constructed with Dan Campbell and the guys they got over there, Sam Laporta, Sun God, J-Mo's apparently looking real good. Then you have that tandem between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, which is what I think Washington's trying to recreate over there. But this is like, the A standard version of that. I mean, it's a lot of firepower for Jared Goff and one of the best offensive lines in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Agree with everything. Basically, my same exact take on it. Simple. We know what we're watching here. This is going to be offensive fireworks, and it's going to be one of the best games. It's going to be a fun game for us to watch, which is why it's the night game.
I can't wait for that one. Not gonna lie. All right. I think this is the last game. Was this Monday night?
Yeah, it's Monday nighter.
Okay, so they made sure not to have this at MetLife this time with the turf. There's no turf over there in the Bay, is there? They need to change that already. How hard is it to maintain some grass? With the Niners, Jets, I had the Niners -6 in my guesstimation, so -4.5. Slight respect to the Jets. I'm assuming it's really that defense. We don't know what we're going to see from Aaron Rodgers coming off that injury, but Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, you wait on. There's a reason why he's on a new team, but and then Braylon Allen, he had a good preseason. That looks like a nice pickup for them. What do you think about this game overall, though?
Yeah, I mean, this is a classic. I just got to San Francisco going to beat the shit out the New York Jets. I just got to come on, man. It would be one thing.
This is one of your locks.
Yeah, like now I hate to call anything a lock, you know that. But if I was being honest with you, if I'm being honest, it'd be one thing if they didn't have Trent Williams playing. Well, he's playing, and like they got Brandon Ayuk back. But what are we talking about here? They're about to smack these. They're about to smack the Jets up. They're about to smack these people up. And I mean,
And it's at home.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I got
I'm definitely taking my winnings,
and,
and
and
putting
I'm
it definitely.
smacking this on
Yeah,
40.
minus 4.5. I had it -6. I was thinking about doing -7.5, but hey, I don't
This
know.
is
So the NFL loves the Jets. I mean, they just like the Aaron Rodgers story, I guess.
it's I mean it's all of that because it would be for the NFL it would be awesome for New York and Aaron Rodgers to be good. It would be awesome. I mean, think about how much money they put into it last year for that man to tear his Achilles third play of the game. So it's like, all right, we got to run all that back, and we need it. We really need this to work. But it ain't. It's and it might work, but it's not going to work on this night. On this
Yeah,
night,
it would really be good for him because it's Aaron Rodgers. You have a premier running back and Brees Hall, and then you have Garrett Wilson. And then on the flip side, you do have Sauce Gardner, full of personality, best cornerback in the league. So, and then the defense, along with Sauce Gardner, is elite, one of the best in the league. So, they almost made the playoffs last year with Zach Wilson. If Aaron Rodgers could at least be what he was that last year in
exactly
Green Bay.
right.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. It might work. Like it might end up working out for them, but the
But
day,
I
but
don't see it week
on
one. This is a
Monday, yeah,
bad beat for week one coming back. I mean, you're dealing with Nick Bosa and them boys.
yeah.
Uh,
This is going
uh,
to be. I don't see how this
uh,
doesn't get back up to 5.5 by the time the game starts. I think it'll be. I think I might bet this one fairly quick, like after we get out of here, because I definitely could see this getting back to like 5.5, real like seriously, because I don't know. If it would be, like I said, it would be one thing if Trent Williams wasn't playing, but he's in, and people love talking about Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk saga all year, all season being acting like a brat. But the only thing that matters is if that left tackle is in. He is the thing that makes that entire football team go, and he's playing. I as much as I hate him, I gotta rock with him. San Fran.
hey, what about Olu Fashanu? They didn't take your boy Brock Bowers. They went online smart.
Smart.
Maybe
And
he
I
shores
respect him for
up.
that.
Maybe he shores up the line, man. You never know, man.
Yeah, no. Listen,
Wait, hold on,
I
hold on. They have Kittle as a must start, but not Ayuk. What's your thoughts on that? Kittle a must start, not Ayuk. I feel like they're on the same level. I
I
think
think
they're
it's
both
because
strong
I
starts,
think
or they're both must starts. I
well,
don't
no,
think
because
one's above the other.
I don't think that there if we're talking tight end, I think there's maybe 5 tight ends in the NFL that you're starting over George Kittle. I think Brandon Ayuk. I mean, at one point in one of the
That's a
drafts,
great point.
we both were in. It almost like Brandon Ayuk fell to you because like they was just didn't want to draft him. They just literally were passing him
Oh
up.
yeah, they were scared. And
Yeah,
people
so
act like with contract negotiation, it means like they stop working out or something. Like I don't get that. I remember.
well because
Did you
like you have to
say?
understand athletes people don't have the mind of athletes. If you've never been around like a elite superior professional athlete at any like level, even overseas athlete, or like if you don't know a professional athlete personally, you don't really understand their train of thought or their mindset. Like a bad day for them is like if they don't work out, if they don't work at their craft. So like right now, he went around the team, but he wasn't at the crib just eating chips, getting high. Like he was, like you know what I'm saying. Like he was working out. Like
Yeah,
CD Lamb came. He put on 20 pounds of muscle. Like these
yeah.
cats don't.
I don't know if you told me this or I told you this, but in somebody's draft, CD Lamb fell to 7 because people were scared of contract negotiations. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, what do you talk? It's like it must be a new NFL fan, but nah, these are our age, push of 30s, early 30s,
They still
playing.
don't know how the game goes.
I don't get it. I could go off on that forever though. Like that shit is crazy. People don't understand. I think it's because people watch multiple sports and they don't understand why the NFL is king. Nah.
Yeah,
Hold on.
but
We back. Hey, so to close things out, we're gonna give our 3 favorite picks of the week. It's gonna be a whole segment here coming next week, but we're gonna keep it this. We've been going for a while here talking about these teams, these games, and no bye week yet. So we have a full slate for a couple weeks. I'm gonna start from number 3 to number 1. Um, the pick I like the Panthers to cover against the Saints. Division game. I think Bryce Young is better than people think. No faith in Derek Carr. 2, pick I love. Seahawks. Like the Seahawks to cover that. I think that's going to be an easy game for them to cover. That coaching hire, the weapons that the Seahawks have, and their nucleus is pretty much the same in terms of their offensive firepower, and another year on Witherspoon's belt to really show that he's a top 5 corner. And then my favorite, this is my lock. It's my lock. Austin don't like locks. I like locks and keys and shackles and whips and chains. I got the Arizona Cardinals to do it. I like the Cardinals. I think the Bills. I think we're kind of living in the past with the Bills. They barely made the playoffs last year. It was like a late season run, which is the reason why I don't take the Dolphins seriously. They shouldn't have let that happen. They should have had that division in the bag. But I like the Cardinals to at least cover. And when I'm saying lock, I'm not talking money line. I'm saying to cover. I think the Cardinals are a lock to cover despite their defense being weak. It's not like Buffalo's weapons got better.
right.
And those are my 3.
All right. Those are his 3. Okay. And for me, let's do this. You guys ready? We're going for it. We're going for the juggler. We're starting out. All right. We're starting out. We're going Tennessee. This one got bet. We got this one at plus best odds right now. We're plus 4.5. But Tennessee minus 3.5. I'm probably gonna. I would probably bet it. Anything over 3.5, I'm going Tennessee. If they get Chicago at like minus 2.5, I would probably maybe bite on that. And then feel free if you want to have a little bit of fun, sprinkle a little bit on the Tennessee money line if you want. Just sprinkle on the money line though. Don't go for the juggler when we're talking these bets. And then I got the Cowboys at. Actually, you know what? I take that back because I'm not betting my team.
You be betting on your team like that?
Yeah, no, I'm not betting on my team. I was gonna put that one in there. Off. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do that. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers with the plus 3.5. If you can get it at 3.5, I'm probably gonna take the Pittsburgh Steelers here because I just think this is gonna be an ugly game. It opened up at 2. It got bet all the way up past 3 to 3.5. I just think that the edge right now is with Pittsburgh. Again, if you want to have a little bit of fun, sprinkle $5 on a Tennessee Pittsburgh money line parlay. Buy your lady something nice. And then I guess the one that I would call the quote unquote lock, the one I would like the most is Jacksonville plus 3.5. I got this being a close game. I think Jacksonville is a better team than we remember. At one point before they imploded last year, I think they were like 8-3. And I think that they have a solid defensive front with Terrion Armstead and some of the linebackers that they have there too. I think they have a nice core. Trevon Walker, who was a first overall pick back in 2022. I just think that, this is going to be a close game. And, I think it's going to be a tight one. I think we're going to see a lot of fireworks. People are definitely not thinking about what was his name? Was Trevor Lawrence. Like you said, the hype, he didn't live up to the hype apparently, but this is still a franchise QB, and franchise QBs give you a chance to win on any given Sunday. So, yeah, we're giving a franchise QB a minus plus 4.5, plus 3.5 points. I think I'm gonna take the points on that one right there.
Is that your favorite pick of the week, or which
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah. That's the pick that I like the most. The Jacksonville and Miami. I think that's the
It
pick I like
opened
the
up.
most.
It opened up at 4. Yeah, yeah, not bad, not bad. I might add
Was
the Jags to my dog parlay. Not gonna lie. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
All
mean, and
right.
again, I'm if just to give you like a idea of like opened up, means that like it opened at this and the line, so it got bet down to 3.5. So that means that people kind of are on the same uh line of reasoning that I am with this game. Let's see if we can find another one. Like even like this one right here was at -2. It opened at -2.5. It got bet all the way up to 3.5, a full point. So again, if you like Atlanta, you might have wanted to get in at 2.5. That way, if there was only one by a field goal, you cover. But now you winning the game by a field goal don't even do anything for you. You lose. So it's just
Yeah,
that's why
that's for
you want to
you
see.
rookies out there, rookie batters. That hook is really important. You know what I mean? Your multiples of sevens and all that, threes, and you know what I mean? Hopefully you don't have a safety mess up your parlay. But yeah, besides that, it's the full slate. Love the matchmaking for week 1 per usual. Football is back. Matter of fact, we out.